Hey, most gun owners don't do anything to protect their self-defense rights. You can change that and become a member of San Diego County Gun Owners. We make activism easy. You need to join today. Go to SDCGO.org/join and sign up to be a member today, because together we will win.
There's another gun show, June 1st and 2nd, 2024. That's coming right up. That's, just about a month away. New location, California Center for the Arts in Escondido. There will be guns for sale. You can bring guns if you want to get fitted for a holster, et cetera, et cetera. Gun Owners Symposium will be included. You're going to have a great symposium. Rich is working on that. Online ticket sales will start next week.
Wow.
Okay, we got Q&A here.
All right, I got the cue.
Every 4 o'clock, we're going to start doing Q&A. We got some good questions this time around. This is kind of a long one. Robert H. writes, "Hello. Not meaning to spam mail you. Just wanted to find other opinions on this organization, being that SDCGO's at the forefront of so many happenings. I thought that I'd run this by you and get opinions. I received this in my email. I'm trying to formulate an opinion, but I still don't have enough information about this organization. I know I'd feel better about such organizations if I saw support from CRPA, GOA, SDCGO, and I don't see that. Just curious of your knowledge and thoughts. Thank you. This is...
What group's he talking about?
That's a good question. I think I actually misread the question when I first saw it. It's called 97%. I don't know anything about 97%. It's an organization called 97%. At 97%, we stand together with the president to advance pragmatic, bipartisan, tech-driven policies. I'm going to guess if they're standing with the president, Biden, that they are not pro-Second Amendment. I don't know anything about 97%.
But when Alicia gets here, we will find out.
I guess we can look it up, but I got to tell you,
I know.
You may know me best for my efforts to defend American democracy against the forces of extremism, but that's not the only Fred. I don't know. I don't know who this is. They're based in Santa Monica and they support Biden. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm going to say probably not. I'd stick with the folks that you listed: CRPA, GOA, SDCGO. We all play our part. Of course, right. NRA.
There you go.
FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition. Stick with them.
97%'s mission is to reduce gun deaths by including gun owners in the solution.
Yeah.
We don't demonize gun owners. Many of us are gun owners, and despite what you hear, we want the same proven protection to solve the gun violence crisis in America.
I'm already my spidey senses are tingling already.
Well, the minute you say despite what you hear, when you hear despite what you hear, that's usually a red flag.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say stay away from that. It's called 97% is the organization.
Yes, 97%, and it's written 97%. PERCENT is www.97%.us.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say don't go near them. They're not our friend. I'd love it if they got a hold of us.
I'd like
and
to see it prove us wrong.
Yeah, prove us wrong, but I'll bet you I'm not going to get proven wrong. Okay, next question. I'm calling, or actually I'm writing. Okay, do we do classes? They want to know we do classes.
What, radio?
No, San Diego County Gun Owners. Or anybody. Gun Owners Radio, San Diego County Gun Owners. So we don't do classes. And here's my whole philosophy on that. The closest we get are shooting socials. And the shooting socials aren't exactly classes. It's a first-time shooting experience. So you're not going to walk out of a shooting social, and that's it. That's all the training you need.
Right.
It's just hey, check this out. We'll teach you some safety rules. We'll give you an experience. But then if it sparks some interest, you go get professional training. So that's as close as we get to classes. But here's the thing. Here's why we don't offer classes. We don't offer classes because that's taking money out of our members' pockets, meaning the instructors, the gun ranges, the gun shops, They're the ones that give classes.
Right, and that's who should be doing it.
And that's who should be doing it. I don't want to compete with them. I don't know why any Second Amendment organization would compete for business with their members. So you're never going to see us like hosting class. We might have a seminar or whatever. We might partner with somebody, but even that's rare. What we do is we promote other people. And, our members. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, so-and-so is doing a class on this. Such and such doing a class on this. In fact, if you go to our website under shops and ranges, you'll be able to see all the shops and ranges that support San Diego County Gun Owners. Mm-hmm. They're in the fight. They're in the Second Amendment fight. I get a lot of phone calls from people. Hey, I'm going to buy a gun. I'm thinking about buying it at whatever, XYZ shop. Do they support San Diego County Gun Owners? Because if they don't, I'm not going to buy it from there. Okay, well, look on our list,
That's cool.
These are the people.
Is that my watch?
No, this is the core watch.
That's what I just said.
I haven't taken this thing.
Not my watch.
So I'm not doing the review today, but it's coming up. We're going to do the review. I haven't taken this thing off my wrist. This thing is really good. It's going to be a very good review. I'm going to have some feedback. There's going to be some positives and negatives.
I'm going to start taking pictures on Instagram. I'll fix you.
The positives are way outweigh.
Well, I want to know. I know. Okay, I'll wait for the review.
No, what do you want to know?
I want to know how easy it is to put the strap on.
Extremely easy.
Really?
Extremely easy. Look. You just pull that up and it's off. Okay, and then you just stick it right in there.
Oh, and you do the
and
you do the
and then you listen for the click.
Finger.
And you listen for the click. Now, I just have a big ass wrist.
Yeah, you have a really big wrist.
If you have somebody
like a log.
If somebody has a normal wrist, it's even easier. But look at that, done, and it's so comfy.
Well, then you should just give it to me.
No, I'm not gonna.
I gave you beef jerky,
dude. If it were any
other watch,
this it's gonna get a good review. Okay, classes. When's Gun Prom? Okay, so Gun Prom, we're actually going to start selling tickets here within the next couple weeks. Gun Prom is actually on October 12th. It's at the Omni La Costa, which is Carlsbad. It's casino night, so it's not going to be, if you've been to Gun Prom before, it's not going to be like a sit-down dinner where we listen to a lot of speakers. You're gonna be in the mix, man. You're gonna get hors d'oeuvres and coffee and dessert while you're playing games like craps and poker and all the you're gonna be like stepping into a casino for the night, which is very, very cool. And depending on how good you do on the gaming table is how good you're gonna do when it comes to winning guns. That's gonna be the cool part. So keep your eye on gunprom.com. Another person wants to know, where can't you carry? They said, hey, I'm so confused. I want to know where can you or can't you carry? So SB2 is on hold. The only difference between now and the last, 10, 15, 20 years is you can't carry on airport properties. Any airport property you can't carry. That's the only thing that snuck through on SB2.
Really?
Everything else is SB2 did not. It's as if SB2 didn't take effect when it comes to the expansion of sensitive areas. So where you can and can't carry hasn't changed. You can pretty much, retail, you can carry pretty much anywhere except airport, government buildings, a couple other areas.
What about schools?
Schools, you cannot carry on schools. You cannot carry on most government properties.
Churches.
You can carry on churches. You can absolutely carry on churches. So there you go. So there's our Q&A for 4 o'clock.
Okay, well, I got a Q&A.
What do you mean?
Where can we see this show online?
Go to youtube.com/Gun Owners Radio.
There you go. youtube.com/Gun Owners Radio, Ken. And you can see our smiley face. Hey, if you ever have legal matters that includes firearms, you need California's best firearms lawyer, and that means John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun law, so put his number on your phone right now. 760-642-7150. That's John Dillon, California's firearm lawyer, 760-642-7150. Put his number on your phone right this minute.
Okay, our first guest is excellent guy, extremely solid Second Amendment defender, someone that works tirelessly on Second Amendment issues and hunting issues and all kinds of cool stuff. And we got some good news, I think, for everybody. Some modern news when it comes to carrying. So I wanted Gary to come on and we'll talk about it, announce what the good news is. So Gary Brennan, the president of the San Diego County Wildlife Federation, which is only one of the many things you do, Gary, right? Gary?
Oh, Gary, my friend.
Is Gary there?
Hold on a second. Yeah. Hey, Gary, how you doing? Our board op is a rookie.
First day.
Come on.
I don't know. It's such a good intro.
Gary, are you there? Get into the phones.
Did he actually call in and we're just having technical?
Yeah.
Hey, your flashlight's on.
Don't you hate that? And I didn't even touch it.
Yeah,
It's
sure
like your Jeep.
Well, it's, again, Gary Brennan, the president of the San Diego County Wildlife Federation. Excellent guy. He's been fighting for Second Amendment rights for so long. I'd say one of his true areas of expertise has to do with hunting, which is something I'm very weak on. I don't know much about hunting at all. I've never really been hunting. It's not really something I've ever participated in. And he's definitely somebody that knows a ton about hunting. But he knows a ton about the Second Amendment.
While you're doing that and tap dancing,
yeah.
on Steve Cohen's show this morning,
Yeah,
there was a couple that had gone to I'll have to look it up. It's an island.
Mm-hmm.
It has two words, Caro something or other.
Yeah.
And inadvertently, when they went on vacation, the bags they were using had 3 rounds of ammunition.
Oh, they went down into Mexico?
No, it wasn't Mexico. Hey, Brendan, you remember where that guy went, where they went with the ammo? Yeah, I'll have to look it up. Did we get our guest on? Okay. I'll look it up.
All right, cool. Gary, you there? All right. I don't know what's going on. The important thing here is that, we have brand new carpeting.
Yes, we do. And it is
brand new carpeting, KCBQ. Excellent job on the carpeting. That's helping us.
I found out why you don't have a card.
Why?
Because the building belongs to Irvine.
Yeah, Irvine Company.
And Irvine Company, there's too many other businesses. If this was like KFMB, as I was told, if this was KFMB in a building all its own, you'd have a card.
I'm not buying it. I don't buy that.
Oops.
I don't buy it. Get me a card. This is so ridiculous. I can't get a card.
You could go into one of these other buildings.
So could you? You have a card?
The refrigerator.
Well, I'd be happy to do that. No, you have a card. Well, you could go do that too. I could get a card. It's been 8 years. What am I going to do? Ridiculous.
It's because you have my watch.
Well, they got new carpeting.
But anyway, so this couple.
Yeah. I think they went into Mexico, and he had a couple rounds, and it was.
And they're going to put him in prison.
I know, it's pretty bad
for like 20 years.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's really, really ridiculous.
And it was just ammo at the bottom of his bag.
Yeah, I read a little bit about that story.
Okay,
it's
so then you
sad.
did hear it.
It's so sad.
Crazy.
It's so sad. It's as ridiculous as the attitude is here in California.
That's pretty ridiculous.
A lot of other countries. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I'm almost positive it's Mexico. I think they went into Mexico.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And Mexico's really bad when it comes to any kind of firearm, anything. And, do you feel safe in Mexico?
No. Do you see me going to Mexico?
No.
Do you go to Mexico?
No, I don't go to Mexico. I used to go to Mexico.
I mean, I don't even go to Chipotle. Okay. The restaurant.
You're worried about Chipotle?
What's too close to Mexico. Can't go there.
That's commitment.
That's commitment.
Yeah. And it really, I mean, it's just absolutely insane to me that a country like Mexico is, going to lecture anybody, on that sort of thing.
And they owe us everything. What they should do is, or our president should contact their president and said, excuse me, release these people.
I agree.
Ammo in the. Now, do you want to fine them? Fine them because they broke a law.
Yeah,
but you don't put him in prison.
No, for 20 years. I mean, when it's a difference, such a difference in law, and it's clearly the intent was, what's he going to do with 3 bullets?
And it was 2 couples on vacation.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So,
maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was like a Caribbean country.
It is. I think it was
Was it Turks and Caicos?
That's it.
Yeah, you're right.
How do you know that?
I know a few things. I know. I've seen a few things.
You got that from your dad.
Turks and Caicos.
He's the only one that would know that.
So yeah, it was. It's Turks and Caicos.
That's it.
I don't know. Maybe they're not as bad as Mexico, I suppose.
Well, they're bad enough. They're going to put this guy in jail for.
I remember there was a guy who was like a security guard. Remember a few years ago, and Mexico jailed him.
Yes,
and he was in jail for a while. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm very non-interventionist when it comes to foreign policy. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get all mixed up in other people. I'm not one of these, like, hey, we need to have American military. No, not me. I'm very non-interventionist. But I got to tell you, if the president was like, yeah, you know what, we're going to go send Delta Force or some SEALs, and we're going to go bust them out of that jail, great, do it.
Oh, heck yeah.
Raise my taxes for that.
I think we have our guest on. It's a guess, but I think we have our guest on.
Okay. Gary, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Fantastic.
All right, we can hear you. So, yeah, it's our first day on the air, Gary.
Yes, it is, and we're taking the jerky away from Brendan.
So
congratulations on your new show.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Gary, thank you so much for calling in, man. I appreciate it. Again, Gary is the president of the San Diego County Wildlife Federation, but that is not the only thing you do, is it, Gary? You do a ton of stuff.
Oh, a ton of stuff, yeah, for sure. In fact, today I was teaching CCW. So
nice.
Wow, there you go.
So I told everybody, hey, we have some really good news, and why don't I'm going to hand it over to you, and you tell the story.
Because Mike's already forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, well, back when when SB2 came in and we started talking about the new requirements for instructors in the county, the sheriff had basically a online Teams meeting or something like that, or Zoom, and we all got on board there, and we talked about the new laws and everything that were taking effect and the training that was going to be required. But at the end, we did some question and answers, and one of the questions was about the use of a red dot site. And lo and behold, they came out and said at that time that, oh, no, you can't qualify with a red dot site. And we're going, well, how come? And because a lot of people were switching over to it, including a lot of law enforcement agencies and all the other stuff. So, well, she said, well, she at the time thought, I believe, that red dot would project light onto the target.
Yeah, there was confusion. There was clearly confusion between red dot and lasers.
Yeah, for sure. So she said she was going to look into it, and then we heard nothing back from it. So I kind of wrote her about 2 months later, well, a month and a half later or so, and I asked her, I said, hey, what's the status? You said you were going to look into it. And she came back and says, well, it's still under review and it's going to be blah, blah, blah. So that's when I reached out to my good friend, Michael Schwartz, and said, Michael, man, we got to get on to this stuff and push the right buttons and get the right people involved and make this decision, because as a older gentleman in my mid-60s, I am having a problem with my eyesight. And a red dot tightens up my group, no matter what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
So we can carry one on our guns as a CCW holder. We cannot qualify with it. We have to qualify with open sights. So that was the issue. And with, like I said, many law enforcement agencies, including the SO in San Diego, they were going to start allowing their officers the use of red dot sights. Yeah. So that's when I got in touch with you, and I'll let you take it from there.
Well, the short story there is, they got back to us the next day. I think you and I spoke, Gary, on like a Friday, and by Monday it was posted. I think the timeline's about that, Monday or Tuesday, it was posted on their website. So if you go on their Q&A, it still says that, hey, lasers, you can't qualify, but you can carry. But then underneath that, red dot, you can qualify and you can carry. So they got it solved really, really quick. I got to tell you, I'm extremely happy with this sheriff. She has made it clear that CCW and their program and everything, is a major part of her commitment to the voters, and it's been really, really efficient. So the big announcement, thanks to Gary,
And Michael.
Yeah, well, thank you. thanks to our teamwork, we are proud to announce that you can absolutely qualify with a red dot, and you can of course carry with a red dot, which I think is an enormous decision. I think it's important that they made the decision the right way. So I thought it was great. I think it's a really, really good thing.
Yeah, I really do too. And like I say, she worked very well. The department worked very quickly about getting it adjusted once we applied a little bit of pressure from you, me, the Federation, and, San Diego County gun owners. And, they knew it was a topic of discussion to begin with. And they finally just said, do it. And, it was amazing how quickly it worked when after I contacted you and you contacted them. Because, it was like within – we went back and forth there quite a bit. It was let's see,
couple months, since they had that SB2 thing. At least I don't think I was on that, but it's. I remember it was back in December.
Yeah, so you got to me at like 4:13 on the 23rd, saying the website will be updated soon. I think we should hold off and. Then I came back at 4:30 and said, it's posted. Questions on the website.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was quick.
Bam, we're off to the races. Right?
Hey, Gary, we're going to do a commercial, and then I want to talk to you more about red dots in general, and then talk about San Diego County Wildlife Federation and some other cool stuff.
Hey, you want to learn to fly?
Yes.
You want to get a pilot's license?
I do.
Well, San Diego is the best place to get your pilot's license because pilots can fly almost every day. And San Diego Flight Training International is the best school to get your license. Give them a call, 858-569-1822. Learn to fly at SDFTI. That's 858-569-1822.
Gary Brennan, El Presidente of the San Diego County Wildlife Federation. Happy to announce that red dots are now, you can qualify and carry with your CCW, your carry gun with the red dot. You don't have to turn it off to qualify or whatever, which is, I think, Gary, you and I were talking about this afterwards. Red dots they're here to stay. They're gaining market share for sure. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. All the manufacturers are coming out with pre-cut slides now so that they don't have to sit up on top. They can actually sit down where you can use the front and rear sights still if you lose the red dot. Mm-hmm. There's manufacturers that are making it, like Leupold has one that makes it basically you're just installing a ghost ring. So you're looking through an aperture sight, using a front sight to line it up.
Yep.
And it's really, really low profile. So.
Do you like that one?
I have it for my shield, and I've shot it. I went to Leupold and shot both of their red dot sights, and I like them.
I like it a lot. That Leupold
yard pistol shot.
Yeah, I like it a lot. That's what's on my carry gun, my Glock 19. I have two. I have a 19 and a 30, and that's pretty much those are the two that I carry. And I put that on my 19. And I really, really, really like it. I've had it on there a couple of years. I was a dinosaur in that I was like, nobody needs a red dot. Just use your iron sights, grumble, grumble, grumble. But then also, I just didn't like having, it was like, I didn't want to have a freaking TV sitting on top of my pistol. And
sure.
So that Leupold, when I first saw that, I thought, man, that's cool. I like that. And I got it, and I fell in love.
Yeah. No, even the regular ones are getting lower profile, and they're not sticking up like a drive-in movie theater screen on top of your gun, right?
Yeah.
So, they're getting so much better.
They are.
And, the brightness settings and, gosh, the battery lives on those things are just tremendous. They last almost forever. So
yeah, you and I were both saying that when we've both seen guns that don't even have iron sights anymore. They just have a red dot. That's all they have.
Yeah. And once you get used to it, like I said, you have to practice just like any other gun, right? But once you get used to bringing the gun up and to the point where the dot's there, And with some glass that is out there, you come up and you got to fiddle around with it until you get the sight aligned, or basically just the barrel aligned with the target. And a lot of people are actually going to shoot a lot better, to tell you the truth, because if they practice with it enough, it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be second nature by the time they bring it up and to the eyesight, and not their head down to the sights.
Yeah.
which I see that all the time too when I'm teaching. So
I definitely learned. I learned a thing or two about my presentation by practicing with that red dot. I never really realized it with the iron sights, but I always aim too high. Coming, as my presentation, I'm always pointed up a little too much, and with the red dot, you pick that up immediately. You because you can't see the red dot unless you're lined up perfectly. And I've noticed ever since I got that red dot that my barrel is always a little too high, so I've had to adjust. So it's not only more accurate because the red dot is just more accurate. It's just quicker and more accurate. But it's also, I think it's made me, better. It's made my presentation better.
So have you ever shoot from, you come out of the holster, you go 90 degrees and you shoot from the hip, which is always something that can happen in that situation. But if you're now getting used to getting it level with your eye, when you come up, you're probably even more level coming out of the holster once you present it and twist it 90 degrees towards the target.
So I hadn't thought about that. I'll bet you're right.
Yeah,
I'll bet you're right.
Give it a shot or two.
Yeah.
But
so Gary, talk about what's some of the other stuff that you do for the Second Amendment community. Talk a little bit about the San Diego County Wildlife Federation. What is their main job and purpose?
Well, we've talked about it before, but basically it's a coalition of sporting groups in San Diego County that got together to be one voice. And, your Gun Owners is a member, CRPA is a member, but we got just California Waterfowler joined this year, and which is a great organization to have in. But we also do fishing community as well. We've been working with NAVDA, North American Versatile Hunting Dog Association, because there's a big bill that was going to affect any dog owner that had a female dog that had puppies, because if it had more than 20 puppies over the lifespan, they became a commercial breeder, which was going to require all kinds of crap, tags and shipping and all this other stuff and paperwork, and it was going to make it almost impossible, where you'd want to go in there and probably euthanize a few of the puppies just to stay under the 20. I mean, that's how drastic it could get, if they didn't want to do that. So, we stopped it. We stopped that. We helped stop a few other ones. Got Portantino to reverse some of his decisions, which is almost impossible.
Yeah.
But the tax on the firearms that got pulled this year, we were part of the coalition, as well as you were, because you're a member. But there's 3 or 4 of the bills that were actually, there's like 5 bills, and they were all connected in some way or another, reporting guns to your insurance company. And your insurance company was collecting data for the state, and they were going to provide that to the legislature and to the Department of Insurance and stuff like that. Well, we got that killed too.
I don't think people realize, that's excellent news, Gary. I don't think people realize how, or not enough people really truly appreciate how difficult it is to stop a proposed bill, especially in this environment. I mean, once an anti-gun bill is, introduced in Sacramento, it's going to pass. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's almost, stopping it is near impossible. So the fact that the coalition was able to get things, killed before they passed, it's a huge accomplishment.
That coalition had like 13 different sheriff's departments in it too. So I mean, it wasn't just Second Amendment groups. It was sheriffs didn't want to get into that stuff because they don't have the people to enforce it. it's just like half of that is red flag laws and all the other stuff. But and that what the 97 percenters that you were talking about, I was looking them up while you were talking about it. And the former president of the Brady campaign is on their advisory board. So it's like, okay, let's stay away from them, right? So, I mean, we got to keep an eye out, and people have to realize that, gosh, you got to know what's going on. Either through you or through even following us on Facebook. I'll put up alerts and that kind of stuff on the Federation's website, and just to keep people involved. I mean, I'm also, on the CRPA board of directors, and and Rick Travis, who is our legislative director. I mean, he's the guy up in Sacramento. We're talking a couple times a week, and then I also have a couple other lobbyists up there that are helping out, and with the hunting and fishing sides. So I have a pretty good ear to what's happening up there, and I try to keep as many people informed as possible. So even if I send out the alerts and the government affairs reports from CRPA, I encourage you guys to, just put it out to everybody, it's because, an informed citizenry has a little bit of stuff to work with other than just being sheep and being out there doing nothing.
It's honest. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, and you've witnessed a lot of the last since a lot's changed since the mid '90s. I'm going to say, and it's pretty amazing. There's a couple things. I mean, just the fact that a bill was killed is a victory. But then going back to this group, this 97 percenters. It's almost kind of a victory that they're trying to disguise themselves as a pro Second Amendment group in order to be anti Second Amendment. Even that's a little bit of a victory. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a cultural victory. It's kind of a PR victory that they know it is politically unpopular to be a full bore anti Second Amendment. Let's ban guns. Kind of group that they're going, hey, you know what? We need to tamp things down, and we need to try to fool people into being anti-gun. A little bit of a victory there, really.
Sort of, kind of, but we still got to keep an eye on them.
Oh, for sure.
every single one of them, because you turn your back on a snake and get your ass bit, right? Can I say that?
Absolutely. And that's accurate. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm just a glasses half full kind of guy. I like looking on the bright side. I mean, yeah, they're not a good group. Stay away from them. I mean, it sounds like, but the fact that, yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Know your enemy.
Know your enemy. And, but also keep your chin up. You got guys like Gary working hard. You got groups like the San Diego County Wildlife Federation, everybody involved. San Diego County Gun Owners and NRA and CRPA and GOC and GOA and FPC and all these groups are working hard. We're getting some really good victories, and you get some, and it's not just like this nebulous group or whatever. I mean, there's real good people like Gary that are doing real good work on your behalf as a gun owner. So I just think it's worth an attaboy and a pat on the back and I see a really bright light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train, I guess is what I'm trying to say, Gary. I don't know. How do you feel about the last 30 years?
Degeneration, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly why I need a red dot. Well, anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for getting the red dot thing situated and figured out, and thank you for everything that you do, Gary. I really, truly appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too, Mike, man. Take care, and thanks for having me on.
All right, my friend.
And thank you, Gary, for having our very first broadcast ever at Gun Owners Radio because of all these.
It's a monumental affair.
Hey, Riverside and San Bernardino. If you want to do more than just donate to support lawsuits to defend the Second Amendment, you need to join IE Gun Owners. We're growing the 2A community and are getting more pro-gun officials elected. Membership is only $10 a month, so joining is real easy. Just go to iegunowners.com/join.
All right, our next guest is one of my favorite people in the whole world. Really just a fantastic guy. He's on the Santee City Council, and he just announced his re-election kickoff, which I had the honor and pleasure of attending, Mr. Dustin Trotter. How are you, sir?
Good, Michael. How are you today?
Good, man. I tell this all the time, and I'm going to continue to tell it. Back 8.5, almost, about 9 years ago now, when I started San Diego County Gun Owners, I was sitting in BNS out in East County at the brewery with.
Santee. You can say Santee.
Is it in Santee? Oh, fish. I wasn't sure. It's right on that. It's right on the lakeside Santee. Okay.
I knew you were going, but it is in Santee.
Were you playing cornhole?
No. I was drinking a beer. I was drinking one of their.
That's one of the biggest cornhole competitions ever.
I didn't know that. BNS in Santee with Dustin Trotter, and I was telling him, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this San Diego County Gun Owners thing. It's going to be a Second Amendment group. And he said, great, I'm writing you a check. And he wrote a check for $1,000 right then and there. Wow. And I can't tell you. So he was the second check in the door, and I'm so appreciative of that. He's so supportive. He's such a great guy. He's been, before he got on the council, after he got on the council, it's just been absolutely wonderful to San Diego County Gun Owners. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So I was honored and happy, and I thought it was great that I got invited to your campaign kickoff to get reelected. And how did it go?
It actually went really well.
Yeah.
To be honest, the attendance was a little lighter than I expected, but it was a Tuesday night. A lot of people have other things going on, other events, family stuff like that. But we ended up raising pretty much the goal that we had for that night to fund the campaign going forward. So that's really the most important thing, actually.
Good, and you've done an excellent job on the city council. And what I don't want people to think is, it's Santee. You got a Republican, a gun guy running. It's going to be easy. It's your district. How many votes did you win by?
In the 2020 election, I ended up winning by 5 votes.
Can't take
election in Santee's history.
Cannot take this stuff for granted. And what happened after it? So you won by 5 votes, and then what happened?
Yeah, so kind of like I'll just give a recap too. Kind of like you said, since 2015 when you started San Diego County Gun Owners, I've been supportive. You've been supportive of me from the very beginning too. So it's reciprocal in that case, from the 2016 election to 2020 and beyond. But in the 2020 election, we had a recount that was called by the Democratic Party of San Diego, and so we had to spend a day down at the registrar's voters, and you, Michael, were one of the people who stood there all day watching votes get counted, along with a few other, staunch supporters that made sure that, nothing funny was going on.
I couldn't believe it. In 2020, when nationally the Democratic Party was chastising everybody for wanting, a recount or questioning the integrity of the election, and they were, oh my, how can you possibly, you're anti-democratic if, how can you possibly question the integrity of an American election? Here, right in Santee, here in San Diego County, in Santee, the Democratic Party said, hey, we want to recount. They were literally questioning the integrity of the election, and you won. You still won. I forget, did they pick up a vote, or did you pick up a vote, or was it?
No, the net result was the same. We ended up opening two ballots in the whole entire process of questionable signatures. But we ended up opening 2 ballots, and there was a net gain of 1 and 1 each. So the net result was the same. So it still was 5 votes. They didn't count any more ballots.
Yeah, which, congratulations. I thought that was absolutely great. It was actually really fascinating. My part there was to stand behind the folks. So one person would pull a ballot and look at it, and then they'd pass it off to the person right next to them, and they'd say, Dustin Trotter or whatever. So and then the other person would verify it. My job was to stand behind them and make sure that what they said was on the ballot was actually on the ballot. And I think I estimated that I got to see somewhere around 2,000 ballots that day, or it might have been 2 days. And
so it's like 4,000 casted or something like that. So probably about that. It was one day. It was all one day. But
it was one day. So it was about
ballpark, right.
So seeing, and I could, I didn't get to see names, and it was just up there for a second. So we really could only get a glimpse and see. But I really made a point of, after looking at, your name or your opponent to make sure they were calling it right, I would look at the rest of the ballot. Seeing 2,000 ballots was an extremely interesting thing. I learned a lot that day on how people vote and how they would vote for somebody in one office that was completely different from somebody else that they voted for down ticket. I mean, it was really bizarre. Like people that had completely opposite views of each other, and they would vote for both. Which
it's actually interesting you say that because I've told you many times in our conversations over the years is that a lot of voters are single issue voters. Excuse me, I say that right?
Yeah.
And the Second Amendment is really a perfect example of that. Some people will just vote down the ticket of pro Second Amendment or anti, no matter what. It's a simple issue for people.
Well, I think you're right. I think the other thing is that I want people to take away from this experience, this conversation. The other thing is they'll vote kind of generally in up ticket, for president or for senator or for Congress. They'll kind of vote like generally, like, oh, I'm a Republican, I'm going to vote for the Republican, or oh, I'm a Democrat, I'll vote for the Democrat. But then as it gets closer to their neighborhood, they'll kind of give up on some of their beliefs. They'll kind of get rid of the checklist when it comes to issues, and they'll vote for somebody they met. Like, oh, I met that guy. Yeah, I don't really agree with everything, but I met him. I shook his hand, and or oh, hey, a buddy of mine knows that guy. And I had a cup of coffee with him, and he says that person's a good. I don't know where they stand on this or where they stand on that, but I met him, I shook his hand, or my buddy says he's a really good person, or my coworker. It's pretty amazing. And what the reason that's important is the things we do when we walk precincts, and go house to house, when we have coffees where they get to introduce or talk to the candidate. Or when we bring a candidate in to one of our monthly meetings, bring some of your friends in to meet, because the closer they get to that candidate, the less the issues really matter. I don't know. Is that the best way to put it, Dustin?
Yeah, I think you actually hit that really, really well because, just in campaigns, I mean, the best thing you can do is go out and grassroots. So like in my campaign, we just kicked that off last week. We have 3 walk sessions each month of the next 3 months coming forward. We're taking one weekend off. And we're going to have volunteers out there going out and knocking doors and, handing out the literature and really talking about the things we've done for the last 3.5 years in our community. And like you said, when you hit the up tickets, a lot of it is partisanship, and you never met that person in your life. You just heard their name, or, they kind of line up with those values you may have or may not have. But when you're getting back to home, closer to home, more of the local issues that are happening, what new developments happening, what roads got paved in the community, a new buildings here or there, infrastructure, things like that. So it's a little more hitting to home. And I think you may, like you say, you do see a little more switch a little bit, not lining up with partisanship, because city council races are nonpartisan, school boards, things like that. It's only when you get to the county, state races and stuff when you start seeing partisanship, on the ticket.
Truly. And the further you get away from the candidate actually meeting someone, the less effective it is. You know what I mean? Like an email from a stranger is almost is completely ineffective, but if someone trusts you and you tell them, hey, I know this guy, and that's who you want to vote for, or, hey, come meet this guy, he's a really good guy, that kind of stuff's important. We got to get your schedule out to our volunteers so that they can come out and help you too, Dustin. I'll email you or call you tomorrow.
I'll definitely get those to you probably another week or so. I'll be sending you a personal email and having that schedule so you guys can help me out. I mean, Mike, you, the gun owners, have helped me out in every election that I've had so far, 2016, 2020, and obviously coming into 2024 here. So I'm super grateful, appreciative of everything. Like you said, it's easy when we're friends and we actually do things together. It makes it fun,
It does. What's one thing? We got like 2 minutes. What's something you're super proud of that you guys have accomplished the last couple of years in Santee, or last 4, 5, 6 years, whatever?
So I'll just talk about the last 3 years. I mean, the 3 things that I started off with, not necessarily this order, but one was to revamp our building department in the city of Santee, and I accomplished that goal. We completely flipped around our building department. We completely do things differently. We went from one of the bottom worst building departments in the county to one of the best now. We're in that top third in efficiency, customer service, all that. Good stuff.
What is it now? How does that benefit? How does that benefit a voter in Santee? Like, what does that do for them?
So for the voter aspect of it, a lot of people think about just developers or, bigger builders for the process, but it's actually more it hits home to the homeowners individually. So when a homeowner wants to do a remodel on their home, they need to upgrade something, to go through a process where it's written more for the bigger type of project, it's daunting for someone. They don't understand what's happening, what is the actual process, and they're not getting help from staff. And we've flipped it all the way around where now someone actually walks you through that whole entire process, from as simple as just getting a water heater permit, which you can do online now in the city of Santee. We've never had online permitting. We've never been able to pay our bills online before until now.
And you help get it done. What's your website, Dustin?
It's DustinTrotter92071.com.
DustinTrotter92071.com. San Diego County Gun Owners endorsed candidate for re-election in Santee. The second check in the door for San Diego County Gun Owners. Dustin
Unbelievable.
Trotter. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, if you're a gun owner, you need legal protection. Even if you do everything right, even if you're 100% justified, you should be prepared for the legal battle after your self-defense battle. That's why you need firearms legal protection. When you join, you get uncapped legal protection for self-defense, for civil or criminal cases with a 24/7 hotline. Joining is real easy. Just go to firearmslegal.com, click on the Become a Member, use code GOR for a discount. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing that you are protected if you are ever involved in a self-defense incident. Firearmslegal.com and use that discount code GOR.
All right, subscribe and win. Subscribe to our email list and win some swag. This week's winner is Gene Valbuena. Congratulations, Gene. All you need to do is email prizes@gunownersradio.com to claim your T-shirt or hat, and be sure to put your T-shirt size. That will almost guarantee success. So, I'm looking at some of the stuff here.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't want to talk about that. Here's what I want to talk about. You know what I'm really noticed is, and it's a little outside of the scope of guns, but, this whole woke thing happened about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
That's kind of when it started. It was right around 2012, and they actually have they have like this one incident on a campus, which it's what sparked off the whole thing. They tried to get this professor fired for writing a memo about Halloween. That's what kind of sparked off this whole woke thing, right? And it was really, things have changed. The world's changed in 10 years. I don't know if you've noticed. And I know, right? Stop the press. Mike,
Yeah, Mike just
figured it out. Mike just woke up. Just turned on a TV. I know, right? I got to tell you, I for the last few years, I kind of, you look at some of the past movements like the hippies and the whatever, and you think to yourself, all right, well, it lasted a few years, and then things kind of, whatever. The hippies grew up, and they turned into yuppies, and,
Right.
So I really tried to I was trying to figure out, like, when is this going to end? The pendulum's got to start going the other way.
I don't think so.
Well, so that's why I bring it up. I think we're right now, the pendulum stopped, and it's about to start going the other way.
You think?
And I really do.
I don't think we've hit bottom yet.
That's where I think it's going the other way. I think it's about to start going the other way. And I think the evidence for that is I am noticing more and more left-wing pundits, talking heads that are finally going, hey, this is ridiculous. Like, enough is enough. We've had it with the
they're
crime.
Finally seeing enough is enough.
Yeah, they're finally going, no, we can't, this is dumb. You're starting to see...
Like the Bill Maher's of the world?
Bill Maher is an excellent example. Anna Kasparian is another one that we've talked about. You're starting to see evidence of swing states like New York.
Oh, they're all... Yeah, they're all... Well, I agree with that.
I think Trump is going to... I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win in states that people don't think are going to be closer, and I think he's going to win them handily. You're starting to basically everything's starting to get blamed on, wokeness, including economic issues. I think that the extremism with Israel is that people are getting pushed over the edge. You're seeing people.
What about all these colleges? And they interviewed just a bucket load of these students, and asked them, "Why are you protesting?" They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't have a clue.
They don't know. But I got to tell you, I think, if let's say when Donald Trump wins and becomes the president, I think that's another nail in the coffin.
I agree.
Of wokeism. I think it's going to be very significant.
Another thing that would stop this insanity is because already they're asking for amnesty. But if you're at a college and you get arrested, then you're done. It's a federal offense. It goes on your record. Can't get a gun, and a whole lot of other things go with it. So they're all panicking now.
You're saying that they should do that, or
no? They should.
Yeah.
I think they should arrest him immediately. Of course, if I had a couple of beers last night, I think they should take him to Pakistan or take him over to Gaza and just drop him off.
Hey, let us know how it goes.
Yeah, just drop him off. Don't give him a thing. Just drop him off and say,
"Yeah,
you love it. You hate America."
Yeah,
there it is.
You want to leave? You don't want to go to Israel? Go to Egypt. Yeah. They share a border.
Sure, let's go. Load up. I mean, it would only take one plane.
And it's not just. I mean, I'm really seeing a lot of mainstream, old school Democrats.
You can't survive.
Yeah, they're going. This is too much. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, because what they're doing is they're heading into a third world country. Is what they're doing.
Well, people don't remember, but the left, Democrats used to be very restrictive when it comes to immigration. That was their stance.
Oh man,
very restrictive,
hardcore.
In fact, like Cesar Chavez was extremely anti-immigration. I didn't say illegal immigration. He was anti-immigration.
Period.
He was basically like, look, we got people here who need to get paid.
That's right.
We don't need more people in this work pool.
I know.
And so you're seeing some old school Democrats. I mean, Democrats, in their 50s, 60s, and 70s who've been Democrats for forever.
Right.
Who walked precincts for Kennedy, and they're still, you're seeing them go, hey, you know what? No, this isn't what we had in mind.
Well, because they can also see the demise of the Democratic Party.
I don't want to. So that's a good point. I would not say that they are anticipating the demise. They're more worried about the defeat, and I think that it's different.
I agree.
It's an important difference because what's not going to happen. So you're going to see a bunch of people who are woke, who are, for whatever that term, however you want to define that term, they are woke. And in a couple of years, when you see the whole thing die and you see the Democrats fail in elections or whatever, they're going to be like, well, the whole time, look, I wasn't ever like that. The whole time I knew that was wrong. And they're liars. They're cowards,
absolutely.
And listen, both sides have these wallflowers.
Where'd BLM go?
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, have you heard anything?
But they're not going to learn. They're not going to learn, and neither party learns. They're not going to learn from their failures. They're going to It
is hard to believe that the Republicans and the Democrats flipped, and now the Republicans are for the working man and the Democrat is not. Where there was a time when it was the other way around.
Yeah, solidly. I think so. There was kind of this country club Republican.
Of course. Well, everybody, that's what Republicans were all about.
Though, I think that the image was that if you're rich, you become a Republican.
Right. If you're poor, you're a Democrat.
But it's honestly kind of the other way around. If you the free market, the things that Republicans valued in the 80s, if you followed that path, you became rich.
Right.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And look at how much money all of these Democrats are worth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely insane because of, freedom of speech and people put – it's amazing.
Yeah, you can't have a minimum wage that minimum wage can't be, 20, 30, 40 bucks an hour or whatever they're, you can't, it just can't. It can't be
and
that.
And then try to raise it to 50.
It's unbelievable how much government workers get paid these days.
Oh. And what if to do nothing?
Well,
I'm sorry.
Do nothing well. Certainly. So anyway, I mark it. You know, here I'm telling you, this is the
Mark
day
it today.
that the pendulum is going to start
April
going the other way.
28th.
Now I got to tell you, if Trump doesn't win, I'm not so sure. I'm not as confident, but
No.
I'm pretty positive.
I'll
He's
be
gonna
really
win.
nervous if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it'll be an affirmation for them.
Totally. All right. Hey, Not Me is for women, by women, and is designed to help women with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It's free. And if you're a woman or you know a woman who needs help, have her sign up, and we'll give her all the help she needs. To sign up, go to notmesd.org. And why do you think I bought you headsets?
Why?
So you won't get an ear infection. So if you get one, I don't
It's
want
my own fault.
I get to watch.
All right. Well, I don't think I'm going to die if I get an ear infection.
We'll put it in your will anyway.
All right.
It's a nice watch.
All right, we ready?
Sure, let's talk to Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda Hardin. She's going to talk about Colorado. I've said this so many times. Back in '97 when I moved to San Diego, and throughout the tens, late '90s and the tens, everybody was moving. Everybody's leaving California. California's weird. We're going to go somewhere else. We're going to go to Oregon or Washington. A lot of people went to Colorado, and they said, "Oh, don't worry, Colorado's conservative. They're never going to have some of these goofy gun laws." Well,
That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, they're facing an AR ban. AR, of course, stands for assault rifle, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I was taught. So Amanda Hardin is she's a founder and instructor with Lipstick Tactical, and we asked her to come on the show and talk about exactly what's going on in Colorado. Amanda, how are you?
I'm great. How are y'all doing?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the show. So talk to us. Let's start with we got you for a couple of segments. So I don't want to I want to kind of ease in. Could you introduce yourself and talk about what you do and what exactly Lipstick Tactical is, and let's give some background.
Yeah, absolutely. Lipstick Tactical is a lifestyle. It teaches women and men that they are their own first responders, that they can protect themselves, that they can push outside their comfort zones. And I do that through training, through firearms training, through medical training. And it's just an awesome organization that kind of bridges that gap. A lot of times people feel intimidated to train with other instructors that were former law enforcement or military. There's this kind of disconnect that maybe I can't really do the things they're teaching me. And it's just people relate to me sometimes more if I get a single mom in there, if I get someone that doesn't have LE or military experience, and they're like, oh, okay, I can do this. And it's just cool to empower people that way.
That is cool. What part of Colorado are you located?
I am like downtown Denver.
Oh, wow. All right.
It's rowdy.
Well, cool. So, I mean, are you seeing what a lot of other folks in the Second Amendment community are seeing as far as a huge influx of women wanting to become gun owners for the first time?
Oh, absolutely, no doubt. Yes, just a huge amount of gun owners. Period.
Yeah.
I'm in retail gun shops often, and it's amazing how many women are coming in buying guns like crazy lately.
Why do you think that is?
Well, unfortunately, violence in Denver and around Colorado is on the rise. We are grossly understaffed with our police officers. They actually just redid how they respond to calls. It's worth looking up because it will make your head spin realizing that when you dial 911, there's a real good chance they're not coming.
Yeah, it's just not. We don't get that out here in California. I'll tell you, everybody embraces cops and abides by the law, and there's just no. It's the land of milk and honey out here. I got to tell you, that's sarcasm.
That's very sarcastic.
Yeah.
So it's. I'm first off, I'm sorry to hear that. I really truly am. People's safety is not a laughing matter. It's something I take very very seriously, and I'm very sorry to hear that even Colorado, even the Mile High City, is going the same route that we're seeing in so many other major cities and all across the country. I think it's just horrible. Why do you think that? Now, is it that women are truly in fear for their safety and their lives, and they're going, okay, a gun's the answer? Or do you think it's just becoming more acceptable socially? Or what's some of the feedback you're hearing from your students?
Unfortunately, almost 100% of the people that train with me either had something happen to them directly,
Jeez.
or something almost happened, or they know someone that something happened to. It's stalking, carjackings. I mean, that's the thing you hear of, like, oh, that was a big thing in the 80s, right? Nope. Carjackings in Denver, Colorado are alive and well, unfortunately. I cannot tell you how many people come to my classes and say, I was stopped. Whoever I was with ran into the gas station. Thank God they had their doors locked on their car, but someone came up, yanking the doors open, got out at a traffic light, tried to get into their cars. That's appalling. Home invasions are through the roof. I firsthand know many people who have had their homes burglarized while they were there and not there. Violent crime is skyrocketing in Colorado and in the Denver metro, and people want to be safe. People are living in fear, and they don't want to anymore.
How long have you lived in Colorado?
I have lived in Colorado for 8 years. 8
years, and have you seen? I sincerely, back in, like I said, in the late late 90s and the 2000s, I saw a lot of people leave California and head to Colorado. And have you noticed an influx of Californians there?
Oh, absolutely. There's actually bumper stickers now that some people have on their cars that say, "Don't California, Colorado." I mean, yes.
Well, now, do you think that they are? That was another thing that I've wondered. Do you think that because the people I know who left California are people who didn't like, the politics of California, the gun laws and the taxes and whatever. So you would think that an influx of those types of folks, you would think that you'd get an influx of people who shared Colorado's values. Is that not what you're seeing?
In the time that you're saying you saw people leaving California and coming to Colorado, I think yes. I think it was people that were more firearm friendly, maybe more conservative leaning in their political views. The people that have been coming in the last 10 years to Colorado are the people that we joke about saying, "Don't California, Colorado." It is the people that are more left-leaning with their political views, and we are not getting more firearm-friendly in Denver at all. I actually always kind of wait for what the reaction is going to be when I tell someone I'm a firearms instructor, that we're not firearm-friendly. Yet there's a shocking amount of firearm owners in Denver. It's odd.
That is odd. That's too bad, too. Well, I know was it Magpul? Didn't Magpul leave Colorado a few years ago?
Yes, yeah. And Colorado in general is not very business friendly like it used to be. I've sat on political committees in Colorado since I moved here, and I've sat on quite a few real estate political committees and business committees. We have passed extremely unfriendly small business legislation.
That's interesting, but it's. I think Magpul leaving was kind of a canary in the coal mine situation, And do you feel like how do I put this? 8 years ago when you showed up, are people more engaged politically 8 years later, or are they still kind of like, are they letting it happen? I guess is maybe the best way of putting it.
This year in 2024 is the most involved I have ever seen people, and I love it because I have been screaming from the rooftops for 8 years about all sorts of bad legislation. So every legislator in the state of Colorado can put forth 5 bills a year. We have 100 legislators. That's 500 new pieces of legislation that could potentially get passed annually. That's like 500 new rules and regulations and laws that dictate how you live, how you work, how you save money, how you seek health care, how you educate your kids. That's insane. And people are finally feeling, I guess, constrained, suffocated. I don't know what the right word is, stressed out financially. And people are starting to pay attention. It's finally gotten painful to them, I think, and they're starting to pay attention.
I hope it's not too late. That I can't, like you said, when Magpul left Colorado, you'd think that would have sparked off a lot more activity. It's too bad, but I hope it's not too late. So, so let's just touch on what are a couple of the bills, and let's talk about the. I guess it's some form of a semi-automatic ban, an assault weapons ban, or something like that. But then on the other side of the commercial here in a couple minutes, I really want to get into depth and detail on what's going on. But just touch on what exactly has happened legislatively.
Well, we're closing out our legislative session. So in the state of Colorado, we go 120 days, not year-round. Our session ends on May 8th, so we are in the home stretch. And unfortunately, almost all the firearms-related bills have either passed and they're waiting on signature from the governor, or this week they're going for their third reading and final passage. So in my opinion, the assault weapons ban bill was more a distraction to get all these other bills passed through. We saw this bill last year and it died. I think the assault weapons ban bill will most likely die this year. It may not even make it to the Senate floor because of how long it's going to take. It's going to take at least a full day because of how controversial it is. But it's kept everybody very distracted. And all these other little bills that seem very mild, they really, if you read them, they all play on each other, and they're quite awful, in my opinion. And those have just passed right through because that assault weapons ban bill has been distracting everybody.
Wow. What are some of the things that have passed right through that aren't the assault weapons ban?
Well, we've got the merchant code. So now when you buy a firearm accessories, ammo, parts, if you use a credit card, you're going to get a special new code tagged to that purchase. So it'll be very easy to track anything you've bought. And there's actually a case in New York right now that would be awesome for someone to go look up if they're curious to learn how this is a very negative thing. There was a gunsmith that was buying parts, and New York has this same thing where they're tagging those purchases with a special code, and he just went to jail. And the judge in the state of New York literally said the Second Amendment does not apply in my courtroom or does not exist in my courtroom. That's crazy. That is a case happening right now that will show you why that merchant code is so dangerous. And we've got Colorado Bureau of Investigation. There is a ammo tax that's going to go on the ballot. So it made it through the Senate and the House. So now it's going to go for the vote when the presidential election gets when we vote then in November.
How much is the tax?
So it's going to be it was 11%. It's down to about 9%. But in total, when you add all the federal taxes and other taxes, we're at almost 25% tax on your firearms and anything firearms related.
Goodness.
Hey, do you belong to an association, maybe a club or an organization wrestling with their marketing? Well, guess what? Most organizations want a lot of money on marketing because it's so tough managing everything: website, social media, e-commerce, email, and the list goes on. Well, leave that frustration behind with Sage Street, Fractional Marketing Department Services. They take care of everything: planning, developing, advertising, and a whole lot more. Getting started is real easy. Visit SageStreet.com. Click on the Schedule an Appointment button at SageStreet.com and click on the Schedule a Call button now.
Okay, we're talking to Amanda Hardin from Lipstick Tactical in Colorado, and we were talking about some of the legislative mess that's happening in Colorado. Okay, so let's talk about the assault weapons ban. First off, before this, a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, for the last 10 years, what kind of restrictions, if any, did you guys have on, semi-automatic firearms, or semi-automatic rifles, long guns like ARs, AKs, etc.?
We really didn't have a ton of restrictions on them. We had the magazine capacity ban, 15 rounds, but that when everybody just started selling their magazines as parts kits, so they took them apart, and that made it totally legal to buy them in Colorado. So we really haven't seen a tremendous amount of anti-firearms legislation other than really trying to restrict where you can conceal carry. You used to be able to open carry in the entire state of Colorado. That has been overridden by individual counties for some time now. That was the majority of the legislation, but just starting last year really is when stuff started slamming through. Now you have to wait 3 days once you buy a firearm. So we have a 3-day waiting period. I believe next year we're going to see a 10-day waiting period come out. And then just this year has been unbelievable with legislation. The assault weapons ban bill did get introduced last year for the first time, but it died very quickly.
And it died again this year? It's totally dead?
Not yet. Not yet. I am predicting on my own accord that it's not going to make it because our session ends on May 8th, and this bill is so controversial that it is going to take an entire day to hear it in committee. The first time it went to committee in the House, it was heard until I think midnight that night. So many people signed up to testify for and against it. There were way more people testifying against it. So the Senate committee knows it's going to take an entire day, and they're going to try and get other legislation passed before they do a whole day. And then it's going to be very controversial once it hits the floor. Jared Polis has actually said, so our governor of Colorado has suggested he will veto that bill, even if it passes out of the Senate.
Is he normally is your governor normally fairly pro Second Amendment or no?
Not usually, no. But he has even admitted that this bill is just too restrictive.
Wow.
Too restrictive. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so right now you can go and buy an AR from pretty much any manufacturer, right? There's not like there aren't certain manufacturers you can't purchase from. You can, Rock River, Colt, or Bushmaster, or any of the manufacturers, right?
Correct.
And it's of course semi-automatic. You can have a detachable magazine. You can have a telescoping stock. You can have a muzzle flash hider, right? All these things you can have a foregrip. All these things are totally fine, right?
Yes. Yep. For now.
For now. Okay. So that's how free it's almost like you guys live in America. So you guys actually have freedom when it comes to at least that piece of the Second Amendment. So what exactly was the assault weapons ban that they were introducing? What would hit it? What would have done? Like describe what it would have done or will do if it passed.
It's going to ban literally everything you just said. And speaking to some gun manufacturers, they're already coming up with ways to work around that. Well, okay, the detachable magazine, how do we change that? How do we modify our rifles with a plate so that it covers up where the magazine inserts? So, yes, I mean, literally everything you just said is going to ban. Even so now you have a lot of handguns, your semi-automatic pistols, like the Canic. It's got a type of muzzle device affixed to the front of it when you look at it. That would even become illegal in the state of Colorado. So it's not just going to ban rifles. It's going to ban a lot of aesthetics that have started crossing over into semi-automatic pistols, and then it's going to specifically ban certain brands. It's very encompassing. Almost 80% of all the inventory in the retail stores in Colorado will become illegal. We will put out so many small business owners out of business. It's horrible for gun owners, but it's also horrible for small business ownership and everyone that's employed by them.
It is amazing because everything basically you guys are going to, as far as long guns, you guys are going to turn into California because that's what we have to deal with now. So a lot of the products, if passed, and hopefully it doesn't pass in Colorado, but if passed, it sounds like you guys are just going to you're going to have to start buying from the same manufacturers who sell to Colorado or to California. And I'll tell you, it's amazing. I went on a vacation. I was up in Alaska, and I went into this little trinket store, and the guy had an AR hanging up on the wall behind. And I started chatting with him, and I'm from California, whatever. And I started describing what we have to do to own an AR. How we comply with the detachable magazine and the pistol grip and the telescoping stock and the foregrip and all the ridiculousness that we have to comply with. This guy was looking at me. First off, he'd never heard anything like that before. He had no idea that's what was going on in California. He'd never, why would he? He'd never read anything about that. He didn't know that we were dealing with that. But the things I was describing, the configuration that my AR was in, he looked at me like I had, lobsters crawling out of my ears. I mean, it was it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make a lick of sense. It's so ridiculous.
It truly is, because if you're just putting a removable base plate of some sort over where that magazine could go in, obviously there's going to be an ability to work around that. And then we can just, the logical piece of this, we can look at these other states that have these very restrictive gun laws and see that it has not solved the problem of violent crime, hasn't even solved the problem of gun violence. And that baffles me. And I know every gun owner brings that up, but the fact that it just keeps getting overlooked on a political level, it's shocking and disappointing, because those are facts. Those are actual facts, that gun violence does not decrease when you pass more restrictive gun laws. And we've got a bill that is most likely going to get signed into law that will ban the ability, it's the Sensitive Spaces bill, it's going to ban the ability for a legal concealed carry permit holder to carry their firearm on a college campus. And the reason that was even allowed in the first place is because a young woman, a college student, got raped on a college campus many years ago. And that ban was in effect at that time, and she was abiding by the law because she was a law-abiding citizen, and she didn't have a firearm with her, and she was raped. And she said, "I'm a legal concealed carry permit holder. If I'd had my firearm with me, I would not be a rape victim now." She took it all the way to Colorado Supreme Court. So that got overturned. Well, we're going to overturn it again in the wrong direction. And now if you're a legal concealed carry permit holder, you cannot carry on a college campus. We are literally creating victims. The city and county of Denver passed a very restrictive law 2 years ago that even if you are a legal concealed carry permit holder, you may not carry on any property leased or owned by the city of Denver. And we have these very long bikeways. They're very beautiful. They're very nice. They run down by the rivers. They're 20, 25 miles long. So you can't even carry there. And unfortunately, we're starting to see an increase in crime and violence there. So say I'm a single woman. I want to go take my dog for a walk after work. Sun is starting to set. I'm down there by myself. I'm suddenly very vulnerable. I'm down there. The view is very obstructed when you're down by the river on these trails. They're very nicely maintained, but you are in a very vulnerable position down there by yourself. So it breaks my heart to see this legislation come to fruition.
Well, I got to say, you're going to run into folks that are going to hear this, gun owners in Colorado, and they're going to say, well, I don't care. I'm just not going to comply. I'm just not going to comply, so I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Those people aren't your friends. And I encourage you to flood them with tough love. This idea that, well, I'm just not going to comply. They have to get involved. They have to show up at the meetings. They have to show up and get the right people elected. Everything that you're describing, is something that we here in California are intimately familiar with.
Everything she's describing, it sounds like early California.
Yes.
It's like that's how we started, and look at where we're at now.
I've seen this movie before. You're not going to like how it ends. And I'm telling you, these folks that are like, well, look, if they come for my guns, I'm just going to shoot them and blah, 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 and I'm not going to comply and whatever. That's not a solution. In fact, I'd argue it's not the American way. The American way is that you get involved. You make sure that your representatives respect your rights. You don't just sit around and do nothing. That's not the American way. Freedom is not a spectator sport. We're the country of the self-governed, and therefore, we have to be ever vigilant. What kind of activities have you seen, now that people are waking up and getting involved? Can you describe some of that?
Absolutely. Yeah. People are asking a lot, how do I make an impact? Where it used to be, people would say, first thing they say is, I hate politics. Cool, I get it. So do I. Yeah. They say, I hate politics. And then my vote doesn't matter. Yeah. So now people are starting to realize that is incorrect. There are about 5.8 million people in the state of Colorado. We have 100 legislators. Our entire House gets reelected every 2 years. If they hear from everyone via email and phone calls, so the most impactful you can be is when a bill gets assigned to a committee, because your committee generally has about 7 legislators on it, and they control if that bill makes it out of committee and to the floor or if that bill dies in committee. If we flooded those committee members as soon as the bill gets assigned to that committee, they will kill the bills. Because unfortunately, we do have career politicians. They want to get reelected. if they hear from a whole lot of the 5.8 million Coloradans that they're not in support of something, they're going to pay attention. That is where you have tremendous impact. Signing up to testify is very impactful as well, but in my opinion, we are even more impactful if we reach out to them as soon as that committee assignment is made. Obviously, going and testifying is very helpful because they hate when the bills get tied up. It eats up a whole day, makes the news, really gets a lot of headlines. But yeah, when you go to committee is important.
Amanda Hardin from Lipstick Tactical in Colorado, helping with the fight, leading the effort. Thank you so much for everything you do, and I wish you the very best of luck. Love to hear back from you. We might reach out and just see exactly how that assault weapons ban, if it died or not. But thank you so much for being a leader and sticking it out there and doing the right thing. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Hey, if you want gear at an affordable price, you need to check out Condor Outdoors. Whether you're a military professional, law enforcement officer, or simply an avid outdoorsman, Condor products are designed to be versatile, durable, and above all, reliable. So if you're looking for the best in tactical gear, look no further than Condor Outdoor. Use code GOR for a 15% discount right off their website, CondorOutdoor.com. Use code GOR for 15% discount.
All right. Guess what time it is?
My
Time to
favorite
talk
of
to
the day.
the man. Sorry about that. Stomped all over poor
It's okay.
Alicia, who brought In-N-Out burgers just for herself.
Alicia's running the segment. Go for it, Alicia.
Go for it, Alicia.
Hey, Sam.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Not bad.
Okay, do they have In-N-Out where you're at?
Yes.
Fantastic.
You guys have
Right.
In-N-Out in Virginia?
There's In-N-Out in Virginia.
Oh, I thought you said internet.
That's what I thought you said, too, so don't feel bad.
Well, I'm okay.
No,
well,
they don't have internet. They don't have internet.
I was going to be pretty impressed.
I
All
was,
right.
too.
Well,
No,
Sam,
we don't have In-N-Out. Do you have Wawa?
no.
I love Wawa. I miss those.
Arizona has Wawa, don't they?
Never had a
No?
Wawa.
It's,
How about Whataburger?
I've had that.
They say it's better than In-N-Out.
Eh,
And that's what I heard.
I don't really like In-N-Out.
They have a Hardee's over there.
Nobody even asked you.
Actually, I don't think it's Hardee's. I think it's called
Carl's
Big,
Checkers.
Big
No,
Star. or
No, it's
something
Carl's
like
Jr.
that. Well, we're Carl's
yeah, yeah,
Jr.
And the other half, the other
Hardee's.
It's Hardee's. But
Yeah.
then there's also Big Star.
You don't like In-N-Out burger?
I don't like In-N-Out burger. I just don't like it. I don't get what everybody's so excited about.
You don't even.
I just don't get it. I got to tell you, I'm the easiest guy to please,
No,
too.
you're not.
And I just don't. Me? You're the one.
Oh, you're so.
You have the
difficult.
palate of a 5-year-old.
Don't worry, Dave. I'm on your side on this one.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anyway.
Won't even eat frickin' beef jerky.
I can't eat beef jerky.
Yes, you can.
I had an incident.
You're-
We're not going to get into that. You know what, Alicia? You've completely
Hey, we
lost
got the food
control.
in. We got food in today.
all right.
All right.
Back on track, Sam. You ready?
Yeah, you said it.
Sure.
I do. I have a question for you. So here's our question. Our question comes from Mike from San Diego. And our question is, why did soldiers strap a rifle to a cannon?
Say that again?
Why did soldiers strap a rifle to a cannon?
Why did soldiers strap a rifle to a cannon? This sounds like a riddle some troll under a bridge would ask.
It's actually, we probably should have included more. So this is, these were Soviets.
Can I get an era?
Yeah. World War II,
Soviet.
Soviet troops would strap a rifle to their cannons.
Soviet troops would strap a rifle to their cannons. I can think of a few ideas. I have not heard of this practice, but if you'll allow me to spitball and conjecture a little bit,
Absolutely.
I can
It's my
think of
favorite
a few
part.
possible reasons. One of them might be as an impromptu aiming mechanism, i.e., lacking some kind of a coaxial sighting rifle like some artillery pieces have. And modern tank guns are slaved to the coax machine gun is slaved to the same mount as the main gun, so they can use that for spotting.
Okay, you don't need to guess any
So
farther.
I would guess is that they were using them as spotting rifles.
Correct.
Yes. So here's
There you go.
Here's the answer.
and that's amazing. All right, so here is the official answer. So, Mosin rifle was propped up with wooden chocks. and secured with straps to the barrel of a gun that was unique, and which was a unique technique that was widely used in the ranks of the Soviet artillerymen. At the beginning of the war, every shot was worth its weight in gold, which greatly increased the demand and skill of the gunner and commander. To give the recruits practice and conduct effective training without firing the ammunition itself, the rifle method was invented. The weapon was aligned with the gun's sight, and then the triggers were connected with a rigid wire. The rifle itself was loaded with tracer ammunition. The idea was that the aiming was made through the sight of the artillery gun and the shot was made from the rifle. The flight of the tracer bullet helped to understand the degree of accuracy of the pupil shot. You got it.
All right, there you go.
Did you know that, or did you just deduce?
Well, I'm aware of that as a concept. I had never heard of it being a field expedient type of thing. I've always only seen it as here's a good example. You are not allowed to get 50 BMG rifles in some states. I believe California is one of them, is it not?
Yeah, it's banned.
Okay, right. So you can't buy anything chambered in 50 BMG in California because, God forbid, everyone knows the gangs are doing drive-by shootings with Barrett Model 82s, whatever. But what you can buy is rifles chambered in this 50 caliber spotting cartridge, which was designed for a single shot rifle that was connected to recoilless rifles, and it would fire an incendiary cartridge, with the idea being that 150 of this shorter 50 caliber round that is ballistically matched to the recoilless rifle is a heck of a lot cheaper, and it weighs less, so it's less of a logistical strain. You can fit a bunch of those in a pocket or a backpack or whatever, versus full-size recoilless rifle shells, which are, like the size of tank shells or light artillery rounds. And you have some guy with binoculars, and he watches the splash of dirt from the impact from this incendiary round going off, and he sees the flash. And so that way the gun crew can dial in their target, and they can hit ideally first round with the full size round. But again, I had never heard of that being done just impromptu with, especially with Mosins. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I was wondering. I wonder if the ballistics are similar to whatever the heck they were using. The recoilless that you're talking about was like Vietnam era, I believe.
Yeah.
And but I wonder if a motion to gun also happened to be very similar when it comes to the
trajectory
of whatever big old cannon that they were using. I wonder if that was a pleasant coincidence or how they handled that, or they were just like, it's close enough, whatever.
Yeah, I'm again conjecturing here. Don't quote me on any of this, but I would guess that it was probably the latter, that it's close enough that it's fine, especially given that standards for acceptable accuracy back then 80 years ago were a lot lower than they are now. They didn't have the type of optics we have, and the type of barrel manufacturing methods we have, and the metallurgy we have now.
So it's close enough for Soviet work, as they say.
Yeah, you can, if some enterprising listener out there wants to find out for sure, you can find ballistic calculators online, or if you're extra fancy pants, you might have one that you paid for that you have installed on your computer, and you could do the math and figure it out yourself.
Alicia's probably going to do that later when she goes home.
in my spare time.
Yeah. Dave's figuring it out right now.
Absolutely.
Do you have an article coming up?
I do have a blog post coming up. It's actually one you had suggested a while ago. You were asking about bullet materials, and so I wanted to address that.
Oh, good. What's the gist of it?
Well, the gist of it is I get into some of the economics. I get into some of the legal side of it. I get into some of the chemistry and try to provide an explanation for why the status quo is the way it is. It's not that we just stumbled into lead by accident. It does, in fact, have a number of desirable properties.
Nice. Well, I guess if the status quo wasn't the way it was, then it wouldn't be the status quo, right?
Right.
I mean, by definition. So.
I guess.
Well, cool, man. All right. Well, awesome. We'll look for that. Is that going to be posted tomorrow?
It'll be posted this upcoming week.
Okay, cool. Excellent
I've been,
job.
sorry for the hiatus. I've been super duper busy. Life gets in the way sometimes, unfortunately.
Hey, I don't want to hear your excuses. You know what I mean?
I do.
Well, awesome job. Not a problem. Always missed, but always appreciated when you get some cool articles up there. I really, truly some of the most thoughtful and researched articles in the Second Amendment community. It's not just a bunch of opinions on a Word doc. It's really useful and interesting information. You always do such a good job. I particularly like your book report. I really like your book reports because then I can just read it and then pretend I read the book. You know, it's got enough information.
The idea is that you read the review so you know whether you need to read the book.
Well, there you go. The answer for me is always no.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Unless it's like a pop-up. Maybe the next time you could do like a book review on like some kind of pop-up or maybe a coloring book. And
I will say this, though. You need a copy of Black Rifle 2. That's essential reading.
Black Rifle 2? All right. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, I already reviewed that one. I'm also Facebook friends with the author, so that helps. But
look at you
I wasn't at the
dropping
time
names.
that I first read it.
So fancy.
Go out and buy a copy and read it. That's essential reading.
All right, I will. And you're going to be out here in a couple of weeks. You're going to be in the studio live. That'll be a lot of fun. It'll be good to see you.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. It's been
fun.
years.
Yeah, it has been.
You got to, Dave. You got to get a cool car for that week.
Yeah, what do I get?
A Lambo.
Volvo.
A Volvo? Oh. Now you're talking. I'll hook you up, brother. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for watching this episode from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns and the Second Amendment. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just do a search for Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Don't forget to support our sponsors. Click on the links in the show notes and support the businesses that support your Second Amendment rights. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.